You're going to have those moments where it's like, wow, I really wish I had someone to share this with. I really wish I had someone to celebrate this with. I really wish I had someone to talk to. But you will get through it. And as you get through it, you are gaining what you need to become so grateful for that person and what they bring to the table when it happens. Thank you guys for watching. This is Krista Nicole. Today's topic is about being single, okay? Whether you're newly single, whether you're thinking about becoming single, whether you've been single for a long time, this is going to cover information to help you in that state and in that place, in that season of your life. All right, so here are the 8 benefits of embracing your single life and not running from it, okay? And learning what those benefits are. Of course, there's many, many more, but these are the 8 that I'm going to go over. Number 1, you won't be afraid, okay, to be alone. When you embrace being single, because that is your circumstance, that is your life at the time, you have already, whether you realize it or not, have embraced the fear, the human fear of being alone, especially if you're accustomed to going from back-to-back relationships. When you embrace that fear, you, whether you realize it or not, are preparing yourself for a solid foundation for the rest of your life to embrace anything that can be considered unknown. Because usually when people are afraid to be alone, they're really afraid of the unknown. They're not used to being alone. They're not used to not having someone, whether that's for sexual gratification, whether that's for someone to talk to, a companion, someone to hang out with, someone to just be in your presence. You have to tackle that fear head on, because that's the only way to get rid of it. When you embrace it, you'll never fear walking away from a situation that's not the right situation. Someone that you realize is either abusive emotionally, physically, verbally. You can walk away because you're not afraid to be alone. So there's so many long-term benefits to facing that fear. A lot of people stay in wrong relationships because of that fear. And they stay either indefinitely or they stay way too long, and it takes up a chunk of their lives. And unfortunately, there's some people who stay and they lose their lives because of fear, because they were afraid to walk away, and it was something that was foreign to them. So they never, it was scary. So they never faced it, stayed in abusive relationships, and in a lot of sad cases have lost their lives. And what could have changed that? Not being afraid to walk away. So that is one thing that, is a benefit to facing the fear and just doing it. Walking with God, learning how to be content, be happy, with yourself. You gain so much understanding of yourself and self-awareness when you can be alone. When I say alone, I mean single. So when you can be single, there's so many benefits. You learn yourself. You get to learn new things about yourself. You get to rediscover who you are at this stage of your life. But if you constantly have someone in, that is taking up your time, it technically, in a lot of cases, and this will be another video, it robs you of embracing the opportunity to become more self-aware, because you're constantly giving your time and your attention and your energy and your resources to others. And sometimes you have to take a break from that and just embrace you. You know what I mean? And just love you for a season. And that's okay. It's nothing selfish about that. It's actually wisdom to do that, so that you can really know what you're even presenting, know what your value is when you do meet the right person. Because you spent time with yourself. You're good at this. You're good at that. You needed some help over here. But you know yourself. Because we're constantly evolving, constantly changing. So you're going to constantly learn new things about yourself, discover new things about yourself. And that takes time. That takes taking a break from constantly giving parts of yourself away. And that is one of the benefits of facing that fear, is being alone and becoming more self-aware. Not being afraid to leave a bad situation if that happens. All right, so number 2 is you will become patient. Now, okay, that's obvious, right? Not really. Because what I have realized and what I have learned from doing this myself, embracing my single season, is not only do you become patient to be able to enjoy life until the right person comes along, it kind of crosses all areas of your life. So you're not in a desperate state to get a specific job, or you're not in a desperate state to move, or in an impatient state in general. Do you have your moments? Of course. But for the most part, when you exercise patience in one area, you're gaining that muscle to apply it to all kinds of areas, all other areas. Even when it comes to your goals, you're not so hasty that you make a lot of wrong decisions. You can actually embrace the patience that comes with being an entrepreneur, comes with being the professional that you are, or entering into that new endeavor. You have the patience that comes with it because you're embracing the patience when it comes to your single life. So it definitely affects you and helps you when you apply patience. They say patience is a virtue. I tried to look it up. There's no Bible verse that actually says specifically patience is a virtue. Virtue means power. It is, though. What's funny is when I looked it up, the verse that they're usually referring to is Proverbs 14:29. He that is slow to wrath is of great understanding, but he that is hasty of spirit exalts folly. So basically, you act like a fool when you're impatient, and no judgment. We've all done it. That's definitely one of the benefits to being patient in this season of your life. You'll be able to apply that same ability to be patient in other areas as well. Okay. As a result of being patient, you're not going to feel like, and hear me out, you're not going to feel like you need a man. God said that it's not good for man to be alone. So I'm not referring to never needing a man, but in that state, in that season where you're single, it's okay. You don't have to have someone in your life. That is one of the fruits of being patient. That's a byproduct of being patient. You don't have to have someone in your life. And it's okay to desire a friendship, whether male or female. It's okay to desire companionship. But it's not like I have to have this, because when you have to have this, when you have to have a man, you just, it's one thing to desire a man, and you should, and when the time is right, I do believe God will place that desire in your heart, and it will be for a specific person. First, it may start off as just desiring marriage or desiring a relationship, and then from there, it will get more and more specific, okay? That's going into my book. Plug. So when you don't feel like you have to have something, you feel peaceful, you feel content, and you're okay with your situation. You're okay with it. And when you're okay with your situation, and when you're okay with embracing the fact that you're single, it leads to my number 4 point. You're not going to be desperate. Desperation is more obvious than the desperate person realizes. It's extremely obvious to guys, females, and males. It's extremely obvious to females, us, okay? We know. We definitely know. Doesn't matter how many qualities you have. Doesn't matter how much you say, I'm trying to build a friendship and all of that good stuff. You can tell when a man is really, really desperate to get from A to Z. You can tell. And there's a difference between a man knowing what he wants versus a man that really will take anybody that's willing to jump from A to Z. And that's desperation. Desperation makes you do that. You don't assess the character well enough to know that this person isn't a good match for me. If you watch the other videos, this person isn't the right person for me. They're not suitable for my purpose, and vice versa. Or they're in a different stage of their lives, or, they're disrespectful, or they don't, they need some character, development. Either way, whatever leads you to that conclusion, you usually can find that out unless you're in a desperate state to get from A to Z. When you're at peace and you've embraced the fact that you don't have to have a man, when you've embraced the fact that you have to face this fear, and you no longer have that fear, and you're walking with God, you're not going to be desperate. You're just not. Because when you're desperate for a man or woman, you're going to see what you want to see. And that's the problem. Oh God, I got some stuff in this book. Okay. I'm giving you the light layer, but I go in depth in the book and make it extremely clear, but I'm not just going to give that away. Okay. You have to stick around and, get the book as well, of course. But you have to stick around to get those nuggets, because it's a lot of nuggets. Okay, so you won't see clearly. You're going to see what you want to see in others and in that situation. So whatever you want that man to be, that's what you're going to see when you're in a desperate state. Men, whatever you want that woman to be, that's what you're going to see when you're in that desperate state of mind. So when you've embraced your single life, you'll know, because you won't come across desperate. You won't be desperate. So the reason why people can sense desperation on a person is because it dictates to their actions. It even dictates to their words. They're quick to trust without a person gaining that trust or showing that they're trustworthy. They're quick to attach their emotions to the person and not really know if that's safe, not really know if it's mutual on the same level, not really know if that person wants what you want instantly, almost overnight sometimes. Because of a couple of great conversations, you attach your emotions. That comes off desperate. It's like, whoa, lady, we just met, or dude, we just met. Like, this is too much. It's one thing to be interested in a person and have a high interest and like the person and see, potential in this friendship going somewhere. But when you start to attach emotions, usually that looks like nicknames out the gate, or showing different parts of your body out the gate. Yes. Or constantly calling, constantly texting, all of those things can definitely allude to desperation. It can definitely reveal desperation, whether that's on you or whether that's on another person. That's where that comes from. And unfortunately, the downside to that, on top of the downside, is they will play off your emotions. They will take advantage of your emotional state. Let me tell you, I have been there, okay? When I first got post-divorce, I knew God had put me in a place where I was content and peaceful. Super content and peaceful. This was around December. All right. I'm going to give you the year. But it was around December time. I remember thinking like, wow, this is my new life. Like, whoa, this is cool. And then instead of just embracing that, here I am being pursued. And instead of just staying in that place where it was peaceful and new, and it didn't feel bad, and there was no negative feeling about this place in my life, in this process that I was in. It was just new. And instead of staying put there, I ended up kind of leaning into my need or my desire and want for companionship, because I was used to that. Because I was used to that for so many years prior to this new life, that it was only, so long, I ended up getting out of my process and jumping into a close friendship, where emotions were attached. You know what I mean? So it didn't go super, super far, but it definitely detoured me from embracing that season at that time, until God taught me what he wanted to teach me, do what he wanted to do in my soul and me and my spirit, and avoid distractions to what I was truly, truly set out to accomplish and focus on. It took me off course in a lot of ways, basically. And I didn't embrace it when I needed to embrace it. Did that time period come around again? Absolutely. And I don't allow anything to distract me at this point, but there was a time when I did, for sure. Especially when it came to boundaries. And this is the last point on desperation. Being in a desperate state can also attract users, okay? People that want to use you. Now, that's not always the case. Sometimes you're not in a desperate state and you still come across those type of people. But in a lot of cases, when you are in a desperate state and you're not seeing things clearly, you're not assessing things clearly, you don't know what to assess, which is why I have this book to break all that down. You don't know what to assess. You don't know what to look for, what the characteristics are that, that help you to identify who's who, what's what. Because of that, you may attract those users. So when you attract users, they're definitely going to waste your time, play with your emotions, play all kinds of games, mind games with you, all kinds of things, gaslight you, the term that has become very popular. but play mind games with you and basically use you because you're not catching on. You only see what you want to see. You want to be with that person so bad, it's just going over your head, basically. And the trip part is they know they don't want to be with you long term. They know that. But they're going to use you for resources, money, sex, even companionship, knowing that they don't want to be with you for a long time, for the long haul, and maybe it's for your house. Maybe it's to live with you, your residence. Maybe it's for money. Whatever they're doing, they're using you for, they already know they don't want to be with you, that you can't see it. So, to them, you're coming across very weak and very easily manipulated. It happens to the best of us. So, don't beat yourself up about it. Don't feel bad about it. You just have to know what that looks like and you have to be able to recognize it. But the first thing you do is you start off with valuing your season and learning what you need to be doing in this season, in this time period of your life. And that's going to take away all of the behaviors that are desperate. And lastly, you can definitely be desperate for companionship, for friends, for physical intimacy, for help with your kids, help with your bills. Ugh, we're going to talk about that one. Help with your finances, help with anything. Help is help. Nothing wrong with wanting help, needing help, whatever. But if you are in a desperate state, it can come out too soon. It can come out too fast. You can just mess up a great friendship, a great relationship because you want to attach to someone so quickly, so fast that for whatever reason, but that reason is causing you to look desperate and to act desperate. All right, so number 5, when you embrace your season, when you embrace being single and you do 1 through 4, you will get to a place where you are detached from codependency. There will come a time where you will become codependent again if you desire marriage or you desire to be in a relationship that will lead to marriage. All of the codependency will come. It's part of the relationship. But when you embrace that season of being single, you can detach from that codependency mindset, especially if you were married before the single season of your life or you've just been single for a long time. Whatever the case is, you at some point were codependent. Nothing wrong with it. It's natural. It's part of a relationship. You depend on each other for different things. But when you embrace that season, you really do learn how to not be codependent for a period of your life in a period of time. And when it's time to become codependent again, it's going to be healthy. It's not going to be too much. It's not going to be too much too fast. It's not going to be, overwhelming. It's not going to be not enough. When guy's trying to help you and you just can't accept that, you can't embrace it, whatever, but you will become codependent when the time is right with the right person because you read the book, God's Divine Plans for Marriage, and you got all this information, you got all this wisdom. So you know what you're doing at this point, but it's going to be a healthy codependency. It's not going to be too much. It's not going to be overwhelming. You're not going to make that person Jesus because in your single season, you embrace Jesus. You learned how to walk with just you and Jesus. You good. It wasn't always easy. You know what I'm saying? Oh my God, I got stories about that. He is my true best friend because he's the only one that's consistently around. So, it's just one of those things that you have that close relationship with God so tight and so well, and you've become so accustomed to you and him and your children if you have them, but you and him and family, that when he comes around, you're not going to put him on the throne. You're not going to put him in that place. You're going to keep him in the lane that he's in the role that he's in, and see him as a human and see him as a man. And so that means that you're going to rely and be dependent to a certain degree. And that is healthy. You don't want to make a man your God. And guys, you don't want to make a woman your God. So you're going to be able to detach from codependency. And when you do get into a relationship that ideally leads to marriage, it will be healthy. Okay? And the beautiful part about it is you'll be grateful. You'll be so grateful for the help, the little things, just the little things, whether it's bringing you something home to eat, whether it's cooking up some soup when you're not feeling good, or opening a door, carrying your groceries in, whatever the case is. You'll be so grateful to be able to depend on someone, and that it's going to bring joy to each other. It's going to bring joy to that person. It's going to bring joy to you, because the little things aren't being taken for granted. You have learned how to become codependent in a healthy state, and that also includes being grateful for that person, the little things that they bring to the table. So those are some of those benefits when you just kick back in that single life, you know what I mean? And number 6, one of my favorites, you will become emotionally stable. Oh, I could talk about this for a long time, but I won't. You will become emotionally stable. That is so important. It's so underrated. It's so overlooked, but it is real and it is true and it is absolutely necessary if you want to have a successful, healthy, mature, prosperous marriage or relationship that is leading to marriage. You have to take it seriously when it comes to being emotionally stable. What does that mean, Krista Nicole? Okay, emotionally stable means that you're not all over the place. That you don't use the fact that you're a woman that you could just be. You know what I mean? You don't have to, you can control your responses. You can control your mouth. You can control even your thinking, because your thinking leads to outward emotion a lot of times. So being emotionally stable is so important, and it's so attractive to men, ladies, and guys. It is extremely attractive to us because we don't want somebody emotional. We're already emotional. But the key, women, is to be able to control those emotions. You don't want to use the fact that you're a woman as an excuse to just be all over the place, Of course, male, females, you have to, show emotion. You have to release emotions. You have to deal with emotions. But you don't have to be blown with the wind. 1 minute you're super, super angry. 1 minute you're super, super sad. 1 minute you're just moody. Just all over the place. You don't have to be that way. But being single for a period of time that is according to God's will for your life, meaning that you have gone through that process. You've gone through the process of being single and you've embraced it. That means the benefit of being able to think before you speak, being able to stop yourself from that text message that can go left or right. That means being able to communicate effectively. Of course, you might be a passionate person. You might put emotion in your passion. But at the end of the day, it's controlled by you. So you're not attacking. You're not overly angry to the point where you're just wasting your time and the person's not hearing what you have to say. Being emotionally stable affects and enhances your communication skills. And that's important. Controlling your emotions is extremely important. And it takes practice. And, you would think, okay, if I'm single, who am I practicing with? Oh, you got plenty of opportunities to practice. When that person at Starbucks messed your order up, practice, okay? You'll have your moments to practice, whether it's with your friends, whether it's with someone that you like, you're not really sure about the situation, but you want to see where it's going. Yeah, you have your opportunities. Let me see if this is still recorded. Dang, 47 minutes. Let me wrap this up. God, Lord. When you mastered your emotions, you're slow to anger, as you've used the word of God, you've applied it, you're walking in it, whether you realize that or not, you might have heard it and you're implementing it. It might have been a seed planted a while ago, but you're practicing the word of God when you are emotionally stable, because you can't do it without him. We're not designed to really, be in control like that without the Holy Spirit, for sure. You're not going to look at a guy that smiles at you and think, oh my God, he's my husband. You're not going to do all that silly stuff. You're not going to take 1 or 2 great conversations and assume this is your man. Assume this is the one God sent you. You're not going to do all of that. You're just going to, accept it for what it is. It was a great conversation. We have good rapport. We work well together. Whatever the case is. But you're not going to go from A to Z in your mind, mentally, emotionally, thinking that it's spiritual just because you had a great conversation. Somebody smiled at you. Guys, it's okay to look at a woman. It's okay. You know, if a woman smiles at you, doesn't always mean she wants to, you know, you to hit on her or anything like that. She might, but it doesn't always mean that. But just know, just have balance. If a guy smiles at you, ladies, you know, he might just be admiring your beauty, admiring your class, admiring you as a person. You know, it doesn't necessarily mean it's more. It just, some people are just friendly like that. Old school ways of doing things and manners and being polite. But you don't have to take your experience like that to the extreme, and that is by attaching your emotions. So being emotionally stable is a huge benefit to being single and embracing that season as long as you're supposed to. Key. Okay, this is another one of my favorites, number 7. You will learn balance, okay? You're going to learn balance when you embrace your single life. When I say you're going to learn balance, I'm referring to once you are married or in a relationship, you're going to be able to prioritize correctly. This kind of goes hand in hand with the other point regarding putting a man on a pedestal and, you know, making him, needing him so much, you just make him your God and all that stuff, being desperate. This is more referring to being balanced with your time and your attention. So your children don't get neglected if you have children because you're in this new relationship or marriage, because you learned how to give them what they need during your single life. And that doesn't change. It might get modified just a little bit. You might lower the bedtime by like 30 minutes. But you're not going to, you're not going to neglect them. You're not going to give them too much time, and just neglect your man or your woman, so you learn balance in your single life. You know how to give your work a specific amount of time and focus. You know how to carve out time for yourself. And all you're doing is you're adding that same skill of prioritizing and managing your time and balancing out your life with one additional person in it. So now this person gets a specific amount of time. But when you embrace that single life and you're so accustomed to delegating and deviating, just giving your time to different things so that everything is taken care of, everything gets the time and attention that it needs, guess what? The person that you just got with is going to benefit from that too, because you're not going to neglect them. You know how to do that. It's a skill set, it's a mindset, it's a practice, and it's a principle, and you apply it to everything that's important in your life. And you gain that from the good old beautiful process of being single. I'm trying to tell you. And you will not neglect your goals. Very, very key, very, very important. If you jump out of the single process too soon and you don't know balance and you don't know how to balance things, that person is about to be your biggest distraction in the season when you're supposed to be really focusing on your goals and focusing on what God is building through you for Him, for His kingdom. It's a bigger picture here. So it's important to learn these things because number one, if somebody's trying to bring imbalance to your life, okay, I have some experience on that. We're going to talk about that in another video. If somebody's trying to bring imbalance to your life by trying to take up all your time, trying to, suck out your energy, just over the top, overdoing it, just overwhelming, then you know how to pump the brakes. You know how to put the boundaries up, and more importantly, you know that that's not for you. Period. They can either make the adjustment, but I'm going to just keep it real with you. Usually when they come in that way, the person's not going to be for you. Even if you have a conversation. All right, switching cameras. All right, switching cameras. All right, so my favorite number 8, you go through a much, much, much needed season. Okay, if God said, okay, you know what? I am going to allow you to be single and hold off on bringing the right two together for kingdom purpose and kingdom marriage. You need it. You need that season. So when God brings that person around, you have all the tools necessary. You have all of the lessons and the wisdom and the character development and the understanding and the, correct way of thinking and controlling your emotions. All these great things that happen in that season, you have it now because you embraced it. So it comes with so many benefits. Okay. It is a much needed season. That is so key and primary for when you are single, just embracing it. Number one, you become a better you. You become a whole, amazing, well balanced, beautiful human being. Okay. You become a beautiful human being. You become an enhanced version of yourself if you just embrace that single life and just let it be what it's going to be and do what it's going to do. Okay. If you desire marriage, once again, I'm telling you, it's temporary. And if you work on these things and you embrace it and you allow God to do what he needs to do in you during that season, oh, they don't line up for you. You will have the pick of the litter because you're an amazing person, an amazing catch. And trust me, I can speak for the ladies. Guys, that is far few and in between to come by. So trust and believe you got our attention. Okay. You know, with the proven methods from God's divine plans for marriage. But you know, you in the running. Guys, I know I'm not a male, but I know it's very beautiful. It's a beautiful thing when you come across a mature woman, something that is underrated for real. A mature woman that is a godly woman that has standards, that is beautiful on the inside and out, that stimulates you in the ways that you need to be stimulated mentally, physically, emotionally. They have all the tools necessary for you. You can't deny that. Being single, ladies and gents, is how you really develop and cultivate those qualities. So it comes with being a better person, becoming a whole, beautiful, well-rounded, well-balanced human being. Number two, you get to detox from all of the crap that you were doing with your behavior. Taking responsibility, you needed to work on some areas, you needed to work on things, whether that's things that, started accumulating from bad relationships, whatever those behaviors were, you get a chance to detox from that. You get a chance to embrace the peace that you have and realize this is way better than what I came out of. And you're going to naturally want to duplicate that. You're going to recognize when someone's coming into your life and they're interrupting that, because you become accustomed to this beautiful, peaceful environment in a regimen that includes God, that includes your priorities, that includes balance, all the great things that you've encountered and that you have discovered in this season. You know if that's being interrupted or disrupted. So you'll be able to discern, a lot better, and you'll be able to get rid of your nasty behaviors, period. You detox from your behaviors, and then you'll be able to recognize a toxic person. You'll be able to detox from the people that rubbed off on you in the wrong way, hurt you, abused you, whatever the case is. You get to get all of that out of your system. You get to heal for real in your soul, deep down in your soul. And that takes being alone, and that takes time, and a lot of time in God's presence, and a lot of wise counsel, a lot of wise godly counsel. So a time to learn new things. You have the time to learn things that are going to benefit you for your future relationship and your future marriage. So you get to detox from all that nasty residue that got on you from a previous relationship. And you get to detox from yourself, okay? The things that you have acquired when it came to your behavior. So a lot of great things come out of it. And the fourth thing, the great thing that comes out of it is you are pretty much put in a position where God clearly wants you to acquaint yourself with Jesus as your true best friend, because he's the one that's going to be there. He's going to be the one that's going to be the constant in your life during your single life. Some people may come, some people may go. Those times of night when you don't have someone to always call and put them in the place of God, guess who you're going to have to call on? Jesus. I am a living witness of it, okay? I almost tried to call. I had the thought of calling somebody before I started doing this video at like 3 a.m. Hence the reason for the pajamas. But yeah, I had the thought to like, let me call such and such. Let me see if they're up. They're usually up late. No, I didn't do it because I knew like those are the moments that strengthen me. Those are the moments that I realize, it can be me and God. Now, if the time is right to call a friend, great, go ahead and call a friend. But don't do it because of a need to just always be talking. This whole video would have been on that phone conversation. You know what I'm saying? Like, no. You can get through those 20 minutes before bed. You can get through those, that day or two when it's just you and Netflix, whatever. You can get through it. You can get through it and enjoy yourself. Truly enjoy yourself, okay? So you get to become best friends with God, best friends with Jesus the Christ, in the Holy Spirit. Because the Trinity, God is the one, Jesus is the one, the Holy Spirit is the one that knows, I got what you need. I got what you need. I want you to know I got what you need. So he'll put you in that place, in that season when it's just you and him, and you develop that relationship and you grow that relationship and you cultivate that relationship. And that is going to lead to a beautiful marriage with a man who has done the same thing, ladies. And guys, it's going to lead to a beautiful marriage with a woman who has also embraced that relationship during their single life. Okay, so don't run from your single season. Okay, embrace it. Embrace it to the fullest. It is one of the most amazing, best times that are setting you up for success, that are giving you a solid foundation to build upon the very thing that you want. And that is a healthy, strong, powerful, a beautiful, anointed, amazing relationship and a kingdom marriage, built on God's principles, built on God's standards, built on God himself. That's what you want. Do not run from your season, okay? You're going to learn to love yourself on another level, live with yourself on another level, be able to embrace the balance that God is teaching you, be able to give your children the time and attention that they need if you have children, be able to reflect on what you need to change about yourself, change about your life, be able to heal, be able to, just really get close to God, be able to just love and enjoy life. You're going to have those moments. I have them, okay? You're going to have those moments where it's like, wow, I really wish I had someone to share this with. I really wish I had someone to celebrate this with. I really wish I had someone to talk to about this issue, whatever the case is. But you will get through it. And as you get through it, you are gaining what you need to become so grateful for that person and what they bring to the table when it happens, when God allows it to happen. And that's what you want. You want his will for your marriage. You want his will when it comes to who you spend your time with, who you become close to, who you court, who you get married to. So he sets you up for success. The plans that God has for you are for you to succeed, okay? Google it. You know how it is. Google that scripture. He knows the plans that God has for you is to prosper you, for you to have great success, good success. So just know that anything that he allows you to go through is for your benefit. It is truly for your benefit. You're going to get so close to God. You guys are going to be so best friends, such best friends. When your man comes or your woman comes, man of God, you're just going to be like, thank you. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're going to just be so grateful that he did it. And you're going to be so grateful that he brought you somebody sane, solid, whole, went through their process, ready for this. Ready for it, and are healthy. They are healthy mentally, spiritually, emotionally, financially. They're healthy. They're not perfect, but they're healthy. And that you can work with. Trust and believe. You can communicate great with. You can do great things with. You can grow with. You can build life with. You can just embrace that marriage that you want. And it's going to be a desire that came from God for that person and vice versa. That's all in the book. We're going to get to that. It's in my book, God's Divine Plans for Marriage. Now, Make sure you like, subscribe. Tell me what you think about the video. Tell me or give me some comments. Tell me some of your experiences on, what it's like for you to be, single in this time period where there's some hard times if you're not single anymore. Just share, because you sharing in the comments is really for other people. Trust, it's for other people. They read those and they get encouraged. They get blessed by it. They realize they're not alone. It benefits everyone, so comment, share your thoughts, share your experiences, and let's walk this journey together. See you on the next video. Subscribe. Peace out.